How do you measure financial success? In today's video, we're going to be defining financial independence. We're going to be going over some of the common questions and concerns that people have along their journey to FI. Welcome back to Everyday Finance. My name is Kellen, and on this channel, we bring you videos twice a week on topics like financial independence, investing, budgeting, and savings. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Financial independence is defined as having enough income from your investments to pay for all of your living expenses without the need to have to work. Oftentimes, financial independence is associated with the FIRE community. Now, the FIRE community stands for Financially Independent Retire Early. And in this community, it's advocated that you have an aggressive savings rate of somewhere around 50% or more of your annual earnings. Now, FI is purely a numbers game. Whether you need $40,000 a year or $100,000 a year, your FI number is determined based on your particular needs in retirement. As you go about trying to determine your FI number, there are some common questions that you'll want to consider, such as, what kind of housing expense will I have in retirement? Will I be saving or paying for a child's college expenses? And what about healthcare? What will I do for healthcare since I won't have it provided through my employer anymore? I'm going to briefly touch on these topics in today's video, but we will be covering these topics in more detail in future videos, so stay tuned. If you've spent much time in the personal finance space or planning for retirement, you've probably come across the Trinity study. The Trinity study was done comparing different portfolios based on asset allocation and the likelihood of success. The results found that with a balanced portfolio of stocks and bonds, your portfolio can withstand a safe withdrawal rate of 4% annually. Now, the Trinity study was only done based on a 30-year retirement window. So if you are looking at retiring early, you may want to consider some additional strategies such as the bucketing strategy. Comment below if you use the bucketing strategy in your own personal portfolio. Also, if you'd like us to do a future video on it. Financial independence comes down to a pretty simple formula: 25 times your annual spending. Now, if you have a pension or Social Security or other forms of guaranteed income in retirement, you can reduce your annual spending needs by those other income sources, and then your FI number is lower as well. For example, if you need $40,000 per year to live on in retirement, you're going to want to save 25 times 40,000, which is $1 million. If you need $100,000 to live on in retirement, you need to save $2.5 million for retirement. A good place to start when trying to determine your FI number is, what is your current annual spending? When you're looking at your annual spending, you also want to consider, what will my spending be in retirement? You won't necessarily have all of the same expenses now as you will in retirement. For instance, your housing costs will be different, your childcare costs will surely be different, and your healthcare costs will be different. I prepared a table to show some of the differences in expenses that you could expect between pre and post-retirement. For instance, look at the mortgage. In pre-retirement, you could have an average mortgage payment of $1,500 per month, whereas in post-retirement, you could have your house paid off and only have taxes and insurance for $400 per month. One of the largest expenses that you'll have as you're preparing for retirement is contributions or retirement savings. If you're doing an aggressive savings plan, you could have retirement savings of $1,500 per month going into your retirement. Whereas after you retire, you will no longer need to contribute to your long-term retirement savings. Another large expense that a lot of us have when we're saving for retirement is childcare. Whereas most of us, when we plan to retire, we will no longer have a childcare expense. So you can see here, you could save whatever you're spending in childcare, in this example, $1,200 a month. Now, some expenses will stay the same, and food is a good example. So a family of 4 could spend $800 per month between groceries and maybe some dining out. But if you are now retired and your children are out of the house, you could spend the same $800 per month for you and your spouse, but you will have a lot more freedom and ability to spend that for entertainment and dining out. Whereas before you were having to spend that more frugally in groceries. One other area is in entertainment and lifestyle. So at least I know for me, when I retire, I want to be able to go out and do things and not just spend all my time at home. So I would want to plan more spending in lifestyle and entertainment so that I would have the ability to do things that I enjoy. Lastly, in this example, you can see that the travel and vacation budgets were increased because, at least for me, I know that I would want to spend a good portion of my free time traveling or vacationing, so I would want to increase that budget to allow for me to do those things. Just in this brief example, you can see that your retirement expenditures are going to be much less than your pre-retirement budget. But you need to be tracking your current expenses and have a detailed budget, and you need to prepare a retirement budget and give yourself the freedom to do things that you enjoy, and while at the same time giving yourself a very good idea of what you need to have for your spending allotments. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss a new episode. We'll see you in the next video.